Hey, if you're a manufacturing company in San Antonio and you're looking for a San Antonio video production company that actually understands the manufacturing industry and how video can help your business grow, then I think you're really gonna like this video. I'm Mark, owner of Mosaic Media Films, and we're one of the top-rated San Antonio video production companies that specializes in helping manufacturing companies win more deals with buyers and decision makers, help reduce sales objections, and recruit top talent. So let's get into it. So before you can dive into any videos as it relates to creating content for your manufacturing company, don't think about interviews, don't think about shots or locations in the shop or training content or anything of the such. You really have to start with strategy first. Now, we've developed what I call the Mosaic method. It's a 5-part process to help you think about all this content before you start diving into creative. And that is define the win, know your viewer, map the journey, turn objections into stories, and build the engine. Now, to learn more about this, just click on the link below and get access to the Mosaic method. There's a 5-part video series where I walk you through this in great detail. There's also some amazing workbook content that you can go through with your team to make sure you have everything done beforehand before you start thinking about creative. So with that being said, let's dive a little bit more into the top few videos that I highly recommend and look at some clients that we've worked with. So if you're a manufacturing company, the top 3 videos that I recommend, number 1 is a business promo or a brand story. The other one is a product video to talk about specific products or machinery. And then the third one is training content to help educate your team. So let's talk about the first one. The first one is your business promo or your brand story. This is what I call kind of the overarching, who you are, what you do. It's a flagship video. It's who you are, what you do, what makes you uniquely different, but you're telling the story through the eyes of the customer and how that articulates and makes their life better. It's typically a combination of interviews, sometimes testimonials, live action shots of the factory and the processes, and then articulating it also through motion graphics and imagery to help illustrate the content in more detail. Now, a brand story or business promo is really, really effective, and usually most clients have it for 3 to 5 years. Now, the problem is most video companies will go in there, they'll ask some questions, they'll get some shots, and they'll spit out a video. However, you really want to start thinking about the video in the terms of how does this relate to your customer? Who is your ideal customer profile? What does life look like for them? And how you can help come alongside them and help guide them in that process with the type of company that you have. That could be a combination of your core values. It could be the types of approach that you take. Why are they choosing you over another company? That's what is gonna really, really make this successful. When the video is done, you can put it on your company page, you can put it on your about page, on your website. You can also use it in pitch decks. You can have it as part of RFPs and proposals, and have it as you have those in-person or Zoom meetings, so people that haven't worked with you have a better understanding of who you are, what you do, and how you can help make their life better and help them with their needs that they have. So that is a business promo or brand story. And again, this is the flagship video and was really going to help you as one of the core videos that you have. Now, the second type of video that I recommend for manufacturing companies is a product video. And this follows a very similar suit to the business video. The biggest difference is that we're doing a deeper dive into a specific product. So it might be a specific product or service that you provide. It might be a specific type of machine that you're creating, depending on what type of area of expertise you're in at manufacturing. If you're on we create the machines and sell them to manufacturers, you're telling a story about that machine, what makes it so great, why they should get this, how it's gonna help them, what makes you different, how that product came to be, and what their life is going to look like when using it. Okay, so that is if you're on the creator side of physically making those machines. If you're on the manufacturing side, you're more or less creating a product video about your capabilities, how you're using the machines to create and fabricate something that's special for your type of client. So let me give you a perfect example, and we'll dive into this a little bit later. When we work with a company called DSI, Dynamic Systems Incorporated, we created a video about one of their products, which is a 14-foot duct for HVAC. And so the process and creation of creating something of that scale and that size only could be done by a very specialized team. And they talked about the difficulty, the challenge, how they're able to do it, how it works for their customer, what their life is going to look like for this. And they're able to use and leverage that video to help sell to other customers because they did it as an initial one-off with Samsung and then leveraged that video to sell it to other companies that were building large-scale factories and stuff of that nature and needed something of that scale. So that is a product video. And oftentimes it's a combination of the same elements. Interviews with staff members articulating the product, telling the story, great live action visuals of you actually building the product or manufacturing it, and other visuals that go along with that story. And then really highly, oftentimes, animation or graphics to help articulate that technology or that process or whatever it would be, layering on anything from overlay graphics to call outs to any types of text or content that helps reinforce the information to the person watching the video. So that is the second type of video. Now, the third type of video, which every manufacturing company should have at least an arsenal of, is training content. And this is so important, whether it comes to OSHA standards or it comes to just onboarding your team effectively. Having a series of educational training content that articulates the processes and the procedures that have to be followed are incredibly important. And this can be done in a couple different ways. It can be done in one way, which is kind of like over the shoulder type of style, where there's maybe like typically a group of people and it gives you that feel that the instructor is talking directly to you and the instructor is articulating, this is what this is and this is what this is. And they're just doing it extemporaneously, like if they were training in a small group setting. So instead of having that trainer constantly have to train people over and over and over and over again on the same thing, the same process, the same procedure, you can have a foundation of content that's created where we're formally documenting each step of that training process. We have the interview where he's talking about it. We have visuals of him showing the machine and how it works and understanding it. And they have overlay graphics that reinforce the information. So a new trainee or a new employee has that foundational information once they go through this series of training on video. Then you can do a smaller or shorter hands-on training to reinforce that learning and answer any additional questions. And this helps tremendously when it comes to increasing the speed of knowledge. It also helps a lot with operationally, minimizes costs, and can reallocate that trainer to other more important things that constantly happen to repeat themselves time in and time again. So this training could be on a new machine, it could be on standard operating procedures, it could be on onboarding content. The possibilities are really endless on how you can use and leverage training content in an effective way in your workplace when it relates to manufacturing, which is super, super powerful. You could also do it from a compliance standpoint, specifically to OSHA standards and how you have to be training and educating your staff to make sure that you're in compliance with all standards needed. So those are the three major types of videos. So when it comes to manufacturing, the three types of videos you got to think about is you're going to be thinking about a product video, you're going to be thinking about brand story video, and you're going to be thinking about training videos. And I mentioned, just to reiterate on the training videos, you could do it kind of just extemporaneously. Another way to do it is you could also do it through traditional voiceover where it's formally scripted. You're showing the steps, step 1, step 2, step 3. You have live action, you have visuals, you have graphics, you have animation, and then of course, you have a voiceover that is carrying that whole entire story, and it's carefully scripted. So that's another alternative way to do it, and we've done that for a variety of clients as well. So what I want to talk to you next about is a couple different client projects that we worked with, the videos we created for them, and how they used and leveraged them in their sales and marketing funnel. So the first company that I talked about a little bit earlier was DSI, Dynamic Systems Incorporated, and we've created a variety of different videos. We've created training video content for them, we've created product videos, we've created history, brand story, onboarding, a lot of different things, and the reason being is because they understand the value of video. The one video that I want to talk to you a little bit more about is the one we mentioned earlier, which is that HVAC video. So this was a product video. That's how I would categorize it. So we told that unique story in a cinematic way, interviewing a variety of different members of the team, talked about how the product came to be, what makes it so special, how they're able to create this product, and how this application for Samsung really helped them out, for this huge, massive industrial facility that they were creating in their own manufacturing plant. So They then later used that video to not only help and encourage the team and kind of, have a great accolade for all the great work they were doing, but more importantly, they used it in the sales process. So when they're getting RFPs, when they're working through sales, they actually were able to show this video, articulate the story of how they're able to custom fabricate this. And they also used and leveraged it to get additional business for companies that that were building and maybe considering some of this size and scale. So it's creating engagement for other types of sales channels and stuff of that nature. So super, super powerful video that they are able to use and leverage. Now, the second company I want to tell you a little bit about is Barnes Global Advisors. And we collaborated with them on 3 unique longer form story-based videos about manufacturing as a whole. So this is really your kind of brand story, business promo type of content because we're telling unique stories. So one story, we went and we did more of a human story about this individual. He went back to school, he learned about manufacturing, he got into the industry, how it's changed him, how it's changed his life, and the impact that he's been able to have personally on the community by staying there opposed to leaving and trying to find a job elsewhere. He was able to stay in his own community and really benefit everyone as a whole. So we told that story. We talked about how manufacturing was really cool and leveraging the educational component into schools. And they also told a really great story about how manufacturing in the US is patriotic and how it helps out the country in general to have our manufacturing here instead of relying on other countries to build and create other things. We're doing it here. We're more self-sufficient and we can be less reliant on supply chains. So we told all these 3 unique stories in a compelling way using that combination that we talked about earlier, which is great interviews, understanding the audience, telling a deep human story, having cinematic live action, and then pulling that all together with a couple graphics and animation to help kind of illustrate all of the content. So this was a super powerful series that they went ahead and used and leveraged that for different groups that were considering manufacturing globally and how coming to the US can really help. So helping educators articulate the power of manufacturing and going into that area of expertise, showing how it's helped individuals to kind of inspiring people to go into the field, and then also how it's been able to be a patriotic tool and how we can try to get more manufacturing back to the US so we're less reliant on other countries and we can be more vertically integrated with supply chains here. So that was a project that we did for Barnes Global. The third one I want to chat to you a little bit about is a company called USAMM, and they specialize in ribbons and metals, particularly for military, and they essentially manufacture this. They get the raw materials, they build all these together, they put them together with the highest, most pristine tolerances and making it very, very specific to what they do for the metals and ribbons. And what's great about it is they are, in essence, a manufacturing company because they are creating and manufacturing these to go on dress attire for a lot of veterans in different branches of the military. So what we did for them is we've created a series of social and educational content. We've also created a little bit different than other manufacturing companies. We created training content for their team, and they also created other social promotional stuff because they're more of a B2C where most manufacturings are B2B. So out of all the videos we've talked about, I'm gonna share a little bit with you what we did on the training side. So what happens is with the company, sometimes they have a lot of seasonality where there's a big peak towards the end of the year when they have these huge events. They call it the Marine Ball. So they almost double or triple their sales in that one month. So they have to bring in a lot of new people and make sure that their tolerances are met and make sure that the quality is consistent throughout with the metals and ribbons that they're building and creating together at the plant. And essentially we created a series of training videos walking them through how to create these metals and ribbons and how to do that properly, what are some of the errors that could be made and how they could do it correctly. And through these series of educational training videos, they were able to quickly onboard people. They were able to educate them on how to do it, build that foundation, and then work with people hands-on going through the physical process of it. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier, training is probably one of the most powerful tools that you can use in the manufacturing space because you're helping decrease the time of that dedicated trainer being taken off of doing something else. Instead of all of the hands-on training where they have to constantly repeat themselves, you can create a consistent message throughout that's articulated consistently through the video. So you're building that foundation of information for people on the training side of things, and you're helping streamline the process overall when you're doing all of the, when you're doing training properly in that way. And the great thing is once you create it once, you're kind of done with that process and you can move on to something else to streamline that even more effectively. So with that being said, I hope that this video has been helpful for you. Just to kind of recap, we talked a little bit about, understanding the Mosaic method, and you can download the link below to get more details on that with a 5-part video series, understanding the Mosaic method, how that works, how can you apply that to your manufacturing business or your company. Then we talked about the 3 major types of videos in manufacturing that are super helpful, which is your brand story, your business promo, your product video, and of course that training content that we just chatted about. And then we explored some options with the different companies that we've worked with. We work with Dynamic Systems, Barnes Global Advisors, and also USAMM, just to name a few in the manufacturing space. So if you're a manufacturing company in San Antonio and you're ready to talk about how the right video strategy can really move the needle for your business, then just click on the link below in the description and book a free 30-minute strategy call with me. We'd love to be your San Antonio video production company and help your brand stand out with video that actually drives results. Thanks for watching and hope to talk to you soon.